Tonight on the Northwestern News Report, after 5 days of encampment, an agreement has been reached between the university and protesters demanding Northwestern's divestment from Israel.
And reports of break-ins and stolen packages on Garnett Street. How this affects student safety while living off campus.
Plus, Illinois seniors laced up for the third annual Hoops for the Ages basketball tournament over the weekend, and some notable figures took the court.
All that and more tonight on the Northwestern News Report.
It's your news
right now.
Good evening and welcome to the Northwestern News Report. I'm Lain.
And I'm Ellie Skelly. Northwestern's encampment in support of Palestine ended yesterday after organizers came to an agreement with the university. Community members received an email about the decision from university leaders shortly after 2:30. The agreement sets up a, quote, de-escalated path forward, according to the university. It requires demonstrators to remove tents and comply with campus protest regulations. In return, the university committed to supporting Palestinian students and increasing transparency when it comes to its investments. This comes after 5 days of negotiations between the NU Divestment Coalition and NU leaders. The encampment began early Thursday morning and was quickly met with early resistance from NUPD, but remained primarily peaceful after that.
NNN's Logan Scajano was at the encampment when protest leaders announced the agreement. He has more on what demands were met and what they're still fighting for.
And this is such a beautiful, valuable, impactful, intersectionally impactful step that I never thought I would see at my time at Northwestern.
Student demonstrators reached an agreement with the university on Monday, bringing the 5-day encampment on Deering Meadow to an end. In exchange, Northwestern announced several measures to support Palestinian students and free expression on campus. While the agreement does not meet all the demands outlined in last week's People's Resolution, organizers say,
"We got the best we could possibly imagine. This is a historic moment."
Included in the agreement is a commitment from Northwestern to disclose details about investments.
Any student, any faculty, any graduate worker, any staff member, any internal stakeholder can request information about investment holdings.
17 of 18 negotiators representing the Northwestern Divestment Coalition voted in favor of the agreement. It says the university will provide a community building dedicated for Muslim students, additional support for Jewish students through the Office of Religious and Spiritual Life, and support visiting Palestinian faculty and students at risk.
It will also provide full cost of attendance for 5 Palestinian undergraduates to attend Northwestern for the duration of their undergraduate careers.
The tents, which have been here since the beginning, are starting to come down here on Deering Meadow, but organizers say this isn't the end of their movement.
We need to open up our imaginations. We need to build our skills, build our knowledge, build our organization, and we're gonna do that tents or no tents.
In an email announcement, Northwestern leaders say, quote, "This agreement represents a sustainable and de-escalated path forward. The university will permit protests on the Meadow through June 1st, though the agreement says that they will only be open to Northwestern community members. NU says it will suspend students who do not remove tents moving forward. No arrests were made during the duration of the encampment."
And Logan is live for us now in Deering Meadow. Logan, what's the scene like now?
Yeah, Lance, as you can see behind me, the sun is setting on the first full day without the encampment at Deering Meadow, but one medical aid tent, or at least a couple of tents that have been brought together to make that medical tent, still remain in the middle of the meadow. And beyond that, there are tons of supplies still here. There are pyramids of water bottles. All the tents are gone, but still food, flags, and posters still litter Deering Meadow, so it's unclear exactly when all of that will be moved out. But of course, people still can protest on the Meadow through June 1st. We did learn that. That was part of the agreement that was announced yesterday, so we will certainly be keeping an eye on if there are any protests here throughout the rest of the school year. Back to you guys.
Right, well, thanks, Logan, for the update.
The encampment began Thursday morning, and tensions were initially high when protesters were met with resistance from the police. The encampment remained then peaceful throughout the majority of the 5 days. I have more on the unique atmosphere around Northwestern's encampment.
My parents are both Northwestern alum.
15-year-old Amani Sadai is 3 years away from her freshman year of college. She's been on Deering Meadow since the start of the encampment last Thursday.
There are people here to make sure that I won't get arrested, and there are people here to make sure that I'm kept safe.
Joined by her 7-year-old sister and parents, she says that she has never felt fear participating in the encampment, despite the potential threat of police action.
The atmosphere here is super positive, and it's super bright, and it's very hopeful.
Protesters sang songs, walked their dogs, and sat together on picnic blankets, creating a peaceful environment.
I think most people would want peace and would want de-escalation.
At the same time, protesters say they do not want to lose sight of the severity of the situation.
We certainly don't want to be celebrating while there are ongoing bombs dropping.
Police have largely remained on the sidelines since their initial engagement Thursday morning, allowing the encampment to evolve, with an art tent, a makeshift library, and a tent for enlightened thinking.
We have to try to raise each other's spirits for this movement to have some cohesion.
From Deering Meadow, Ellie, Northwestern News Network.
Contributing to this environment, Northwestern's decision to not enforce an addendum to protest guidelines. The addendum, which was announced on Thursday, prohibits the installation of tents without university approval.
The university also permitted outside groups to take part in the protest, which sparked support from local and international groups. Encampment Ends' Allison Miller was there over the weekend and spoke with some of the non-students in the crowd.
Soaring dozens of feet over the encampment on Deering Meadow is a handmade Palestinian flag. Its creator is Dave Triple, a cabinet maker, peace activist, and Evanston resident of over 60 years.
As I was raising the telescoping pole for the flag, cheers started happening, which warmed my heart a little bit.
Bringing in poster supplies to Northwestern's encampment, he says protesters made many of the designs on the NU fence at his table.
There's so many things to say about what's going on, so many ways to say it, so many phrases that can be said.
Triple is just one of many community members rallying together to support the Northwestern protesters. But the support extends beyond Evanston. Around 30 members of the United States Palestinian Community Network arrived on Thursday.
You know, our job is to help the students and provide the students with the resources that they may need to uplift their voices and, of course, advance their struggle here on campus.
The encampment even brought aid from other countries. A Canadian resident doctor visiting the Chicago area for tourism came to staff the medical tent.
We work at the hospital during the day, but our beliefs and our actions beyond the hospital also impact the health of the population at large.
And there's more than physical support. The encampment has a GoFundMe, and tents are overflowing with donated food and supplies.
I feel this whole week has been about showing up and about really expressing and living what I feel are the core values of Judaism, which is pursue justice, stand with the oppressed, welcome strangers.
Demonstrators say this movement is too important to let pass by.
And there's historical things that happen that are remembered. This is going to be one of them.
Allison Miller, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Allison.
And a majority of Northwestern-affiliated counter-protesters were also on the scene Sunday morning, causing tensions to rise. The group was independently led and organized by graduate students. The counter-protest lasted roughly an hour and a half and included a tense standoff. It later de-escalated when police moved the group off the meadow. With the encampment now coming to an end, there are a mix of reactions from the Northwestern Jewish community. For many Jewish students on campus, there is a sense of relief and renewed safety. Encampment co-organizer Jewish Voice for Peace is, quote, in alignment with the terms of the agreement. Specifically, their demands for a new Jewish space on campus have been met. Jewish Voice for Peace say that Hillel does not serve their needs, but Hillel hopes they can be a welcoming space for all.
It's a bit disappointing that we couldn't have a more productive conversation with any student who doesn't feel welcome at Hillel to kind of workshop how Hillel can make them feel more included.
In a statement, Northwestern Hillel said they are, quote, disappointed with the concessions the university made to the protesters and its tolerance of violent and intimidating anti-Semitism on campus. In an email sent to the NU community Monday, university leaders said that acts of anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim, and Arab racism and hate will not be tolerated. They add that community members who can be identified participating in these acts will face disciplinary actions.
Meanwhile, not all protesters were satisfied with the agreement, expressing frustration with the encampment's negotiators on social media. One of the presidents of Students for Justice in Palestine responding to criticism on Instagram this morning, saying they've been called a, quote, sellout Palestinian for supporting the agreement. They say also, quote, there is always more to come, but let's not forget about speaking and acting like this is not solidarity, end quote. We'll continue to follow reactions to the end of the encampment, as well as the ongoing efforts to organize and support a Palestine on campus in the coming weeks.
After the break, more on NU's first ever debate between college Democrats and college Republicans.
At Northwestern, we're wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Students living on Garnett Street have reported multiple break-ins and stolen packages in recent months. NNN's Aria Wozniak investigated these incidents. Here's what she found out.
Northwestern junior Lauren Capucci lives on Garnett, a 10-minute walk from campus. She says someone broke into her home at the end of winter quarter.
I just started saying like hello, and then I heard footsteps of someone leaving, and the door that I had left locked was unlocked, so then I locked it.
Police told Capucci the people who break in know students live in the area and that they are gone for spring break. After the break-in, Capucci called the police, changed the door codes, and got a Ring camera and pepper spray. That same day, the Garnett group chat reported other break-ins.
I often get notifications from the group me like, oh, like someone's stealing our packages or someone just asked for money outside our house.
Others on the block have encountered people outside their homes asking for money. Nina Georgieva said her subletter last quarter was scammed.
He knocked on our door and she opened it and he basically was like, oh, I live down the block, but I locked myself out. I need like money for the locksmith and then I'll pay you back. And like somehow she agreed to it and gave him money for the locksmith and then that was it.
In response to growing concerns, students have felt an increased law enforcement presence on the street. Police Commander Ryan Glue says there was another break-in on Hinman. The suspect was apprehended and no one was hurt. The commander said students need to be better about locking their homes and taking precautions to stay safe.
If you see something suspicious, call the police. Don't hesitate. If you see something suspicious or something that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up, avoid it. Sometimes trust your instincts, trust the things that make you uneasy and uncomfortable.
For safety, students should always keep their doors and windows locked.
Thanks, Aria. Meanwhile, students are taking safety into their own hands through the Garnett group chat and by installing their own security cameras.
Back on campus, Northwestern's chapter of Bridge USA hosted its first debate between college Republicans and Democrats, drawing a crowd of around 100 students to Harris Hall. NNN's Fiona Bolzen has more on what went down in Harris Hall last week.
NU's chapter of Bridge USA held the first ever debate between college Democrats and college Republicans in Harris Hall last Tuesday.
So
was really about this concern that people were having at the school, like how can we engage in meaningful dialogue without people feeling so offended by everything that everybody's saying.
The debate covered 3 topics: immigration, gun control, and abortion. Both Democrats and Republicans were excited to debate and discuss the critical issues on the table.
And I'm really glad that we're going to be talking about some relevant and important issues. I mean, immigration is in the news, gun control, and how best to deal with that is also important to a lot of people.
Each topic featured one member of each club sharing an opening statement, follow-up arguments, a cross-examination, and a closing statement. Around 100 students attended. The audience was civil and attentive with few interruptions and both sides engaging in respectful discourse.
I think it was really important and critical that we had a whole new generation of Northwestern students that were very excited about this.
The debaters hoped the event sparked more dialogue on campus and left students thinking about the critical issues.
I think that would both benefit the students who attend and also just the campus generally to have had this conversation where people who disagree can talk and hear each other what they have to say.
NU Bridge felt the event was well received and plans to continue to hold similar debates.
It turned out that it worked really well, and we've even had opportunities now to maybe do this as a quarterly thing.
Bridging divides with debate and dialogue. Fiona Bolzan, Northwestern News Network.
For more information on Bridge NUSA events, students can follow their Instagram at BridgeUSA_NU.
Coming up, a pub at Norris. We've got the details up next.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Welcome back. Changes will soon be coming to a staple of Northwestern's campus. NNN's Sabrina Carson takes us onto the Lakeville with more on Norris's upcoming lawn redevelopment and what it may mean for students.
Northwestern announced upcoming renovations to the Norris University Center's East Lawn in early April.
It brings the lake a lot closer to the Norris Center, and it has 3 very distinct elements that are critical to people enjoying the outdoors.
The announcement comes after over 3 years of progress on the project.
So it really came together when a lead donor came forward and when other donors were identified.
They're renaming this lawn the Cohen Lawn, and where I am standing now is where the new amphitheater will be, which is just one of the new renovations.
It's transformative.
Dan Foley, Associate Director of Student Operations and Programs at Norris, says this project will positively impact student life.
The general developments are there's going to be a pavilion, which is an outdoor stage. There's going to be a pub that's an extension of Norris, and then there's going to be a large paved plaza.
With these renovations, students should be prepared for a period of construction and a lot of noise.
We're going to work very closely along with our partners in facilities management and the construction firm that's building the lawn to make sure that we're working as hard as we can to mitigate any noise concerns from surrounding areas.
Once the dust settles, students can look forward to a new and improved community hub.
It really is going to do for the outside what we've already done for the inside, bringing students together in a space where they can have fun, where they can gather for community.
A new field for a new Norris. Sabrina Carson, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Sabrina. The university released a statement stating that they're looking to break ground in the next couple of months and plans to finish construction by summer 2025. The hope is these changes will have little impact on student activities. So speaking of activities, the temperatures are rising. It's getting nice outside. I'm hoping this weather kind of continues.
Yeah, so am I. But the big question is, how long will it continue? And it seems like we'll have our answer pretty soon because NNN's Jasmine Kim joins us now for our weather forecast. Jasmine?
Thanks, Lance.
Should we be putting away our winter coats yet? It seems like Evanston is giving us another week of a mix of sun and rain. The skies have cleared up from yesterday and will remain relatively warm at around 60 degrees. Tomorrow, the sun will be out at a high of 74 and a low of 56. Remember to put some SPF on and enjoy the weather because it looks like that's all the sun will get until the weekend. On Thursday, the cloudy weather returns with the temperature hitting up to 64 degrees. Moving on to Friday, it will be a rainy morning with a high of 64 and a low of 49. This weekend, we will see a drop in temperature despite the sun finally making an appearance. Don't let it fool you, I'll still have my jacket on. On both Saturday and Sunday, we will rise into the mid-60s. That's weather. I'm Jasmine Kim. Back to you, Lance.
Thanks for the forecast, Jasmine.
After hearing about those rain chances later this week, many may have been motivated to get outside and enjoy the weather. And that's exactly what over 150 people did by participating in the Evanston Lakeshore Shuffle 5K run walk along the lakefront. NNN's Mila Branson has more.
It's the first race Evanston's Parks and Recreation Department has hosted in over 20 years.
It's just really nice to have a time where everyone can come together, especially with the nice weather, and just participate in something that's really good for you.
151 participants headed to the lakefront Saturday to race in Evanston's inaugural Lakeshore Shuffle 5K run and walk.
It's going to be a really beautiful course. You get to enjoy the lakefront trail, a little bit of Northwestern, all the way down to Lee Street Beach.
Beginning at 9 a.m. with 3 staggered start times, runners had 2 hours to finish the race, with sunny skies and a strong breeze. Guided by upbeat music, every runner earned a shiny medal upon finishing the 3.1 miles.
Honestly, I love the medals. I think they're so cool, and I hang them in my room, and they're really pretty.
All ages took their mark near Arrington Lagoon and also interacted with local businesses and a coffee truck, creating connections between community members.
I'm just excited to see people coming together, the camaraderie of an event like this.
Whether working on personal goals or spending time with loved ones, runners shared a variety of reasons for participating.
I have a few coworkers that are into running, and they suggested that we do it as a team.
And that participation motivates organizers to run the event again next year.
Meet other people that you wouldn't otherwise meet, come down to the lakefront, even if you run it every day or if you've never come down here.
Crossing the finish line in a connected community. Mila Branson, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Mila.
Coming up, looking to relive their glory days, senior basketball players from across Illinois hit the court in Evanston this weekend. But was the competition more than just a game? Stay with us.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Welcome back. From cha to reggaeton to bachata, dancers of all backgrounds left nothing on the table at Northwestern's Latin Dance Company's spring show. NNN's Rachel Spears has the story.
Dali Duro Latin Dance Company asked audiences if they were ready to play at their game and casino themed spring show Friday and Saturday nights.
Are you ready to play?
The group began preparing for the show in January, and this weekend, the cast's hours of rehearsal finally paid off.
It's a lot of planning and a lot of hard work, but then it's all worth it when we, put on our show and then we see everybody's happy and, the audience, their reactions are priceless.
The sold-out show packed Ryan Auditorium both nights. The multicultural cast brought together students from across years and schools.
It's been really easy for me, especially as
a cultural outsider to just like meet people, become friends with people, and be like included and involved in a lot of different things outside of just the dancing.
For some of the dancers, joining Dali Duro marked their first time in a Latin dance group.
This was my first time to really be part of like a big dancing group, and I always wanted to like get connected with my culture.
They always had a lot of like Latin music, and I had my aunts and uncles always be like, oh, like come on, like dance. And so at the time I'd always be like, nah, I don't want to dance. Like that's crazy. But coming here was like, it's a nice community.
Dancers say they hope their show's audiences reflect their diverse cast.
We create that space and we welcome everybody with open arms.
Finding community through dance, Rachel Spears, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Rachel. For more information about Dali Duro and Latin dance on campus, follow DaliDuro_NU on Instagram and be on the lookout for audition information next winter.
On Saturday, Illinois seniors competed in a 3-on-3 basketball tournament at Evanston's Robert Crown Community Center. NNN's Giovanni Contreras spoke with players competing in the games.
Over the weekend, the third annual Hoops for the Ages basketball tournament brought together players ranging from the ages of 40 to over 70. Seniors laced up their shoes and knee braces before taking the court.
These guys were so physical. When I played last year, I was shocked at how much they pushed and shoved and blocked.
This year, the tournament partnered with the Illinois Senior Games to become the official qualifier for the Senior Olympics. So in addition to medals, players also competed for a spot on an Olympic roster. Among the players was Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul.
I pride myself on my defense, but I'm a shooter. I've got hip problems, but my wrist works quite fine.
Raoul wasn't the only public figure on the court. Also competing for the gold, former Secretary of Education Arnie Duncan.
Everybody wants to win, so it's fun. That's the point. We all were probably more competitive than we've ever been. And so, you're going to play hard, you get banged up a little bit, that's okay, it's part of the game.
The tournament quickly became a who's who of notable Illinois names, from politicians to former pros. A former ABA players squad went 3-0 on the afternoon.
I'm a ball player. I like to score. Everybody know I can score.
The top 3 teams in each age bracket received gold medals and qualified for the 2025 Senior Olympics. Now, they await the invite to join the Olympic roster.
So we'll see. I'll see if I get the call. They took my number, and I'll go play with them.
In Evanston, Giovanni Contreras, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Giovanni. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on how far those seniors go, but for now, Ellie, I wanted to ask you about what your basketball skills are like.
My basketball skills are so minimal. I pretty much played every other sport sometime throughout my childhood, and basketball, for some reason, was not one of them. I did swim in high school, though. Did you do any sports or anything of the like?
I mean, I think a lot of people thought I played basketball, and even now when I meet people, they think I did because I'm not necessarily short.
Sure.
But the truth is, I can't even shoot a layup, which that is pretty embarrassing, and I get that. I was in marching band in high school, though, and not only was I in marching band, I was the drum major of the marching band.
Okay, what was your favorite thing to do, favorite song to play?
Ooh, favorite song to play? I don't know if I have a specific favorite song, but it was just, I still think about how fun it was being in the stands those days. But that's all the time we have for now. I'm Lance Wilhelm.
And I'm Ellie Skelly. Have a great night.